Hello, and welcome to the Daily Poem on the Close Reads Podcast Network. I'm Heidi White, filling in for David Kern. And I'm filling in for David because, as many of you know, if you are Forma subscribers to Circe Institute magazine, you'll know that David and I work together on Forma Journal. David's editor-in-chief, and I'm the managing editor. And then we have an editorial team that is surpassingly excellent. And we just released last week some subscriber content with recommended poems for fall. And so we thought it would be fun to share some of those poems with you. So I'm going to share with you today my recommended poem for fall, which is The Wild Swans at Coole by one of my favorite poets, William Butler Yeats. So here goes. The Wild Swans at Coole. The trees are in their autumn beauty. The woodland paths are dry. Under the October twilight, the water mirrors a still sky. Upon the brimming water among the stones are 59 swans. The 19th autumn has come upon me since I first made my count. I saw, before I had well finished, all suddenly mount and scatter wheeling in great broken rings upon their clamorous wings. I have looked upon those brilliant creatures, and now my heart is sore. All's changed since I, hearing at twilight, the first time on this shore, the bell beat of their wings above my head, trod with a lighter tread. Unwearied still, lover by lover, they paddle in the cold, companionable streams or climb the air. Their hearts have not grown cold. Passion or conquest wander where they will, attend upon them still. But now they drift on the still water, mysterious, beautiful. Among what rushes will they build? By what lake's edge or pool delight men's eyes when I awake someday to find they have flown away? I love that poem, and I'll offer a few comments in a minute. I'm going to read to you first my paragraph description in the subscriber content that we sent out this week. For most of us, autumn is a season of robust action. As summer fades, the garden yields its produce, the school year begins, professional pressures mount, and the arc of productivity surges upward. This is curious because as new routines commence, the year, meanwhile, begins to die. Fall is a season of paradox. The harvest is both the bloom of the year's growth and also the harbinger of its approaching death. In The Wild Swans at Coole, W.B. Yeats explores the relationship between autumnal beauty and encroaching decline. Rejecting action in favor of contemplation, Yeats recounts an October stroll beside a country house lake where, upon the brimming water among the stones, are 59 swans. The swans take flight, wheeling in great broken rings upon their clamorous wings. Yeats has seen the whirling of the wild swans at the same country house before when he was a hopeful young man, but now, after 19 years, his heart is sore. Mirrored in the circling swans, the poem is a meditation on the repeating cycles of love and death, hope and suffering, beauty and grief, which are inherent in every human life. For those of us who crave contemplative moments in the midst of a frenzied fall, The Wild Swans at Coole invites us to ruminate upon the mysterious interplay of change and constancy, growth and death that is awakened by autumn's annual advance. So I really love this poem. William Butler Yeats is one of my favorite poets, and he was introduced to me by my high school English teacher who loved Yeats. And so we spent an entire unit studying Yeats' poetry. So Yeats was one of the last of the great Romantic poets. He was writing predominantly in the early 20th century. He was an Irish poet and very involved in the Irish Revolution. He had a lover, a woman named Maud Gunn, with whom he was desperately in love, and they had a dalliance once upon a time, but she married another man, broke his heart, and he wrote some of the most beautiful, haunting poetry as a result of that deep loss in his life. He wrote the Wild Swans at Coole when he was an older man in his 50s. And it's a meditation upon love that has been lost, along with this beautiful scene in nature. Autumn, in many ways, is the height of the year's beauty. And paradoxically, also the height of the year's growth, but followed closely upon the heels of fall, of course, is winter. So Yeats explores that in this poem. I'm particularly drawn to this image of the swan. Yeats was very well known for symbols and images, particularly taken from nature. The swan image is compelling here. First of all, noting that there are 9 in 50 swans. And so, of course, that's an odd number. So we immediately know right away, whether we pick up on it consciously or unconsciously, that there is one lone swan. There is a swan without a lover, a swan without a partner. And swans are the most beautiful of all birds, yet they have no ability to sing, which is also a very compelling part of this imagery that he's weaving in here. That there's this swan that holds this incredible beauty, and all eyes are drawn to it, and yet it has no voice of its own. It is contained within itself. And there's a lot of sadness and poignancy in that. It's this haunting image of melancholy and beauty mingled. Of course, that's perfect for the time of year of fall, which for most of us is very busy. But there is a depth of melancholy in this season if we'll pay attention to it, which is, of course, what poetry invites us to do. But within this poem, there's this sense of something always lost and unspoken. And then the swan, of course, this little detail about the swan, the only time that the swan sings is right before death. And so as the year ages, as Yeats himself ages, as he's in this place where physically he spent time as a younger man and now he's an older man, he's surrounded by beauty, but the beauty is about to fade and die. Then there's the swan that has no voice until right before death. And so in many ways, the poem is a swan song. So this poem I love. I love to kind of spend some time sitting with it during the fall season. I invite you to do the same. So here it is one more time. The Wild Swans at Coole by William Butler Yeats. The trees are in their autumn beauty. The woodland paths are dry. Under the October twilight, the water mirrors a still sky. Upon the brimming water among the stones are 9 in 50 swans. The 19th autumn has come upon me since I first made my count. I saw, before I had well finished, all suddenly mount and scatter wheeling in great broken rings upon their clamorous wings. I have looked upon those brilliant creatures, and now my heart is sore. All's changed since I, hearing at twilight, the first time on this shore, the bell beat of their wings above my head, trod with a lighter tread. Unwearied still, lover by lover, they paddle in the cold, companionable streams or climb the air. Their hearts have not grown cold. Passion or conquest, wander where they will, attend upon them still. But now they drift on the still water, mysterious, beautiful. Among what rushes will they build? By what lake's edge or pool delight men's eyes when I awake someday to find they have flown away? This has been the Daily Poem on the Close Reads Podcast Network. We'll see you tomorrow.